The Collapse of Silence, Part 4. Everything was irrevocably altered, although the stars above Orcs did not radiate any different light that night. Few people had anticipated, and many had feared, the human fleet's arrival. They now hovered beside the Cathar Empire's battle colossi, their ships designed for impact and durability. Still, no gunshot had been fired. Rancor Voller watched the newcomers from the shadowy throne of his flagship, the Cathar Eternal. Although the human armada was smaller, their formation was daring and provocative. Instead of trying to seem vulnerable, they wanted to look ready. In the middle of the holographic display, Valiant Resolve, the primary ship of humanity, sent forth its first and only message: "We are here. We will no longer back down." On the command table, Rancor pushed his lengthy fingers. There was no overt threat in the sentence. But there was no space for uncertainty either. "We detected coded communications between the human ships," a Catharian officer declared. "Several tactical directives. They are bracing for potential antipathy." Despite nodding, Rancor's tone was remarkably composed. "Instead of inciting, they are preparing. This is not the same." On the surface of the planet, Sarah Mirren gazed intently at the machine-filled sky. She and Calvaean had sent every bit of information they could regarding how the planet was responding to the Catharians. The native microbe, which is now categorized as mycorrhizae, seemed to interact with gravitational fields in a way that was exaggerated, almost as though it was defending the local equilibrium out of instinct. "More to herself than to Kale," Sarah said. "Ornyx is reacting. He is burdened with dominance. Additionally, he rejects it." Kale pointed to a number of magnetic problems in the Earth after adjusting the sensors. Since the Catharian spacecraft landed, the records revealed strange disruptions, as if the planet were attempting to release the strain that had been placed on it. According to him, Ornyx may undergo a tectonic collapse if this keeps up, or react in a different manner. They started a fresh broadcast from orbit. Viralis' counselor, Theron Valerai, materialized holographically in front of the two fleets this time. "Galaxy peoples. We, the Unified Council, command that all aggressive acts against Ornyx be stopped. We have come to the conclusion that cohabitation is now unavoidable after seeing the progress of both civilizations. The galactic equilibrium will be seen as threatened by any imposition effort." Without hesitation, Vorik Nemus, who was still in charge of organizing a portion of the Cathar fleet in the lower orbit, responded. "The Council has no control over unclaimed territory. You are not responsible for this colony." Theron, however, responded unrelentingly. "From now on, it is. The Council has direct monitoring of Ornyx. Interplanetary war will be deemed to have occurred if there is further intervention." Any danger was overshadowed by the ensuing stillness. The spacecraft of both forces repositioned themselves in space. Every weapon was ready in the background. None, however, were triggered. And then Ornyx said something. Not in words. However, in action. Columns of light rose from the Earth in the center of the planet's southern zone. These were beams of pure, vertical, sporadic energy, not explosions. Sarah's laboratory observations revealed a gravitational peak that had never been seen before. The mycorrhizae were up. According to her, this is more than simply an organism. The network is planetary. An intelligent bioenergetic system. Ornyx is an awake being. The laser beams penetrated the stratosphere and disrupted the shields of the ships. Communication was hampered. For a while, certain Cathar spacecraft were forced out of orbit, as if the planet were protecting itself. Rancor gazed intently at the spectacle. He came to the conclusion that the planet was a weapon. Humans have roused it as well. The unidentified human commander on the bridge of the Valiant Resolve opened an open channel. "No one is the owner of Ornyx. However, we first heard her, and we honor it. Know that if you want conflict, it won't be against a single species. It will be in opposition to a living will. With ties to both sides, Theron continued, perhaps it's time for us to realize that the era of conquest is over, and the moment for coalitions is arrived. Ranker Voller paused for the first time, clearly. His subordinates waited for a command. However, it did not arrive. Instead, he switched to the command screen and sent out a signal that caused the Cathar fleet's entire arsenal to freeze. He said, "Withdraw the troops. Ornyx will not be captured." It took just a few seconds for the decision to pass via the command channels. The Catharian vessels started to make retreat movements. Though they didn't fire, the human fleet stayed vigilant. The vitality of Mykorosei waned on the Earth. Lights went off. The planetary reaction had been adequate. In the neutral area between the ships, Theron called an official meeting a few hours later. For the first time, human delegates from the Viralis Council and the Cathar Empire stood together without a weapon. Sarah Mirren was asked to watch and do research as one of them. She carried the first known samples of the planetary intelligence of Ornyx. They brought along a straightforward request: we didn't come to rule, not to live by themselves. We eventually got along. It might be the reason we are hazardous. Or necessary. Ranker Voller gazed at her for many long moments. Then, in a motion that was almost invisible to his species, he acknowledged something that few had seen in his presence. Honor. The years went by. The Galactic Council recognized Ornyx as the first interstellar planet to be formally acknowledged as a living being. As a sign of equilibrium and limits, its name was eventually included in treaties. Under its quiet moons, the Ornyx Harmony Pact, the agreement that would formally put a stop to the practices of forced colonization, was formed. There were no winners announced. However, there was something more significant: comprehension. The conflict was lost by humanity. Avoided one. Not with coercion, but by paying attention. For being heard as well. When the stars' quiet was shattered that day, the cosmos learned to pay attention. It began with a signal and ended with the galaxy listening. If you missed the beginning of this journey, start from part 1 and discover how humanity went from a curiosity to a force that even empires couldn't ignore. Watch the rise. Feel the shift. Witness when the stars tremble. If this finale moved you, like the video, share it, and comment your thoughts on the ending. Did you expect Ornyx to awaken? Subscribe to the channel for more epic sci-fi sagas.